Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the marketplace. Coming up, Ghana Cedi named the world's best performing currency after appreciating nearly 16% against the US dollar since April. The finance minister says it is not a 9-day wonder. Really? We'll discuss ahead. Also coming up, economist Professor William Boateng cautions that the sharp appreciation of the Ghanaian cedi may have a negative implication for the country's economy.
At the port, the exporter also loses in terms of the money that it gets. The exporter or government cannot come to workers and say that even appreciation of the cedi has caused prices on domestic markets to go down.
Prices of some imported food items and beverages should be going down beginning next week as a result of the city's good run. We hear from the Food and Beverages Association.
See some of the prices.
But you're saying that next week
we should see some of
the import side by 1%, 2%, 3%?
Oh, some, you see, in Ghana, when we are increasing.
My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for joining us. Details coming up. All right, thanks for staying with us, everyone. The Ghana cedi has been named the world's best performing currency after appreciating nearly 16% against the US dollar since April. That's according to a Bloomberg report. The cedi at our last check is trading at 13 cedi 70 pesos against the dollar. The development, according to the Ghana Statistical Service, has eased inflation. Let's go on Zoom and engage Chief Executive of Dalex Finance, Joe Jackson. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to first begin with your view on the recent sharp appreciation of the cedi. How do you feel about it? You're muted.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your listeners and your viewers. Listen, the appreciation of the cedi, and even the stability alone has me excited. The stability has me excited. Because remember that in the last 3 years, we've gone from 6 cedis to $1, all the way at one time, all the way up to $16. This moment, we're just clawing back some of the devastating effect on our purchasing power that took place over the last 3 years. That definitely can't be a bad thing. It has to be good. We've lost so much in our purchasing power. Remember that if you had 6,000, if you were paid 6,000 cedis 3 years ago, you were earning $1,000. So at the end of last year, you were barely earning $350. Today, if it's gone up to $400, thanks be to God. And let's pray that it continues.
Yeah, I mean, questions are, is this sustainable? Is it because of what we are seeing happen in the US? And so we heard from the finance minister who said, well, this is not a 9-day wonder. We are going to sustain this. But people doubted really that this would happen.
Okay, now, first of all, we've got to understand the what I call causes. Then it will be able to appreciate whether it will be sustained or not. Number one, it's just that Trump tariff war. And the tariff war means that people are so uncertain about trade with the US and where we are heading with this Trump war that the dollar has depreciated against all major currencies. And so the dollar has appreciated, the dollar appreciating against, the dollar has depreciated, against all major currencies. So the cedi appreciating or the dollar depreciating is not a big surprise. But that's not the only thing. There's also been a fall in global petroleum product prices. That means that for Ghana, our single biggest import, petroleum products, the price is falling. The cost has gone down. And to add to this effect is the fact that investors in this turbulent global economy, where we don't know where the US is going, where the Ukraine-Russia war is continuing, and where there's been this recent potentially nuclear split between India and Pakistan, investors are moving into gold, where they feel there's more security and stability, such that the price of gold has spiked. So what has happened? Number one, our the cedi has appreciated, but our import bill has dropped. And our gold reserves in the central bank have also gone up in value. And because the central bank has been continuously buying gold, this has benefited us. Now, somebody will say, okay, so is it all external? No, it's not.
Okay.
The reason why we are the best performing currency is that we are uniquely situated to take advantage of these multiple causes. Why? Of course, the cedi will appreciate, but we are buying gold reserves. And the government has kept its commitment to reducing public expenditure. So all of a sudden, Ghana is not looking that toxic anymore. The cedi reserves and the dollar reserves backing the cedi are stronger and more. The central bank is able to put in more money because it has a little bit more leeway. So I would say the effect is twofold. There's the Trump tariff, but also internal commitments to reduce public expenditure, an internal commitment to increase our gold reserves, an internal commitment to push this to the next level by the implementation of the gold bond, means that we are uniquely placed to take advantage of that external environment. Remember, every other West African country has had the same advantage. Go to Nigeria, the naira is still depreciating. Obviously, in this same global environment, there are some countries that cannot take advantage of what is happening. We have to give credit that the current regime has placed itself in a position to take advantage of the global environment. But the question is, how sustainable is this?
That's the question.
A lot of us can't see that tariff war ending in the next 6 to 9 months. Not really. We don't see Trump backing down, and we can't see Russia giving up. And negotiating tariff deals are notoriously complicated, notoriously, they take time. So for me, at this moment, let's enjoy our small messes. Let's give credit to those in the central bank and in the Ministry of Finance who have put us in a position to take advantage of the global climate.
Yeah, so while we enjoy these moments, what would the implication be for Ghana's exports, our projected revenue, if you like, looking at the country's gains from exports of some key commodities?
Okay, now let's start from the beginning. What's our biggest export? Our biggest export is the crude oil. Now, of course, that will be affected, but not as much as you would think. What's the next biggest export? Gold. the price of gold has spiked. Price of gold has spiked. So that would definitely, whatever the negative effects on our exports, gold prices alone will make up for it. And bear in mind that the next one is cocoa. Guess what? At the same time, cocoa prices have spiked. In fact, our problem is that we are not able to produce enough cocoa, not the reverse. So at this moment, I think all in all, we are in a good space. All in all, let's be grateful for small messes and let's enjoy this whilst it lasts.
How are these gains impacting the financial sector?
Well, the financial sector, first of all, the gains mean that, for starters, investors who would have been tempted to move their cedis into dollar are not doing so anymore. So there'll be a little more liquidity for us to lend to the real sector, bearing in mind that at the same time, the government has reduced the price of T-bills. And so you can't just take that money and go and lend to the government sector because the government has reduced the profitability of doing that. So the effect of all this would be increased lending to the real sector because liquidity will improve in the banking sector because investors are not going to move their money into dollars. They're going to hold their money in cedis.
Right. Very soon we are going to be hearing from another economist who thinks that there could be risks to the cedi appreciating against the dollar on the economy. Your thoughts?
Oh, there are risks. First of all, the major effect is external. So if the Trump war is resolved, we're going to be in trouble. If the dollar starts to appreciate against other major currencies, we're going to be in trouble. So listen, it's not as if but there are risks to everything. Every course of action we choose, there would have been a risk. So I'm not worried if there's a reversal, if the reversal in gold prices, there'll be a risk. But at this moment, it seems like the stars have aligned to put us in a good place. And we ourselves, by our actions, are also properly aligned to take advantage of that. And so we should give credit where credit is due, take advantage of the global economy, and claw back some. Listen, you and I have suffered greatly when the cedi depreciated. Let's claw back some of the. Let's not be naysayers and negative about this. It improves your purchasing power. It does to mine.
Again, people are concerned. Well, prices are not going down like they would anticipate. Too early?
Early. The person who bought the item that you are buying, the drugs that you are buying, the clothes that you are buying, the mobile phone, bought it 3 months ago at the dollar cedi rate 3 months ago. Take some time for that to show up in this country. No, I think it's too early to and then I also think that at this moment, we're really coming out of a national crisis. And we should be positive. We should be hopeful. And we should be thankful that things will get better, things will improve, and some of the losses that the ordinary Ghanaian has suffered due to the depreciation of the cedi will come back to us.
So, final one, again, and as we enjoy these times, you say the government and the central bank should keep doing what they're doing. What else can they do?
They should keep their commitment to reducing expenditure. They should keep their commitment to keeping T-bill rates low so that the cost of debt service is low. They should keep their commitment to, at the same time, holding the monetary policy rate high enough to take out some of the liquidity in the market. Listen, each way it's not as if we're going to get out of this our crisis at the end of 2024 without any pain. I believe that all that has happened is that the global economy has made it less painful than it would have been. I would say to the governor, keep doing what you're doing. I would say to the Minister of Finance, keep doing exactly what you're doing. And I'll say to the rest of Ghana, let's enjoy it whilst it lasts.
Ghanaians, hear you, Joe Jackson. You're going to enjoy these moments. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope to have a great weekend. Chief Executive of Delex Finance, I appreciate you joining us on the marketplace. Wow. So, Economist Professor William Boateng has cautioned that the sharp appreciation of the cedi may have negative implications for the economy. Now, since the beginning of the year, the cedi has gained more than 10% in value and in the title as a world's best performing currency. In fact, 16% according to Bloomberg. However, speaking on PM Express Business Edition, Professor Boateng warned that if the appreciation trend continues, it could undermine Ghana's external inflows and make the country's exports less competitive.
There was appreciation of the local currency as we are having. It could undermine domestic production unless perhaps most of the inputs that the domestic firm is using are also imported. Then that firm will also benefit from imported inputs and capital and so on. So we have to look at it in totality. One thing that you should also bear in mind, that as government loses in terms of revenue at the port, as the exporter also loses in terms of the money that it gets. The exporter or government cannot come to workers and say that even appreciation of the cedi has caused prices on domestic market to go down. So workers, can you also bring your wages down? I think it is not possible because prices are flexible upwards, but sticky downwards. So in economics, the best for the economy as it is now is stability. So if we are able to get to, if we are on 13 and we are able to stay there within the first west, maybe 13.1, 12.9, 13.2, around that period from now to the end of the year, it is going to allow importers to be able to plan, adjust all their activities and their transactions. Exporters will also be able to plan, adjust their transactions, and government will also be able to plan in terms of managing the economy.
Professor Boateng issued a direct challenge to Ghanaian importers and traders benefiting from the appreciating cedi. He says they must reflect the gains of the local currency in the prices of goods or risk exposing a double standard.
But if it's not going to reflect on domestic market the speed at which the cedi is appreciation, then we have to be very careful, because when the cedi is depreciating, importers will by all means increase the price in anticipation of further depreciation. And I expect that if it is appreciating, then they should reduce the price in anticipation of further appreciation. But of course, prices are sticking downward, flexible upward.
Prices of some foodstuff and products should be going down from next week. This will affect imported products and other items brought in by members of the Food and Beverage Association, which includes beverage manufacturers, importers, firms in the food chain industry, and transporters. The review has been influenced by savings made by members following the cedi's record appreciation against the dollar for the first quarter of the year. Samuel Agri is Executive Secretary of the association.
As we are passing on this cost, we realize how expensive things have become. But where is it coming from? It's coming from where the goods are coming from. The cost of the cedi, the import duty, is also what is dictating the pace of the price input in the market. So now that we are seeing the cedi gaining its strength, and people have also started reducing some of their imports, then we want to see that reflect in the pockets, also in the market. So when you go to the market, not tomorrow, you don't see some of the prices.
Mr. Agri said, but you're saying that next week we should see some of the import side by what, 1%, 2%, 3%?
Oh, some, you see, in Ghana, when we are increasing, we don't see 20 pesos.
Okay.
We see 1 cedi, 2 cedis, and 5 cedis.
Okay.
So definitely we're going to see some amount of reduction. And this should also translate into a further reduction in pricing.
Well, that's some good news. You're watching The Marketplace. We're taking a short break. We will be right back. All right, thanks for staying with us here on The Marketplace. As we round up, just look at what's making news on our website, myjoyonline.com. Business, we'll get you that in a bit. But as you go into the weekend, myjoyonline.com/business, the day's latest stories from over there. That's taken quite a while. The fundamentals haven't changed. Professor Bob Watson cautions against CD hype. Africa's debt sustainability worrying. Ghana's debts increased by $6 billion in 2024, according to a report. myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your weekend. We leave you with a summary of international business news.